Coming up, we got to talk about arguably the two most important people in the MCU, a 16-year-old boy and a surgeon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Rewatch, where we are rewatching every project in chronological order in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, leading up to Avengers Doomsday, which we are now probably 470-ish days until then, and Avengers Secret Wars. Each week, we do a deep dive about all our thoughts of the MCU in chronological order, so you don't have to. So if you're enjoying this journey with us, please make sure to subscribe and drop a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Today, I am joined by Wyatt.
What's going on, everyone?
And our resident philosopher, tech support guy, and current host of the E-Ticket Talk, Brody Leonards.
Hey, everyone.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm
doing all right. Not too bad, not too bad.
Fantastic.
It's been a long week since we've talked last, right?
Absolutely. That's all I got.
Well,
that's all I got to run that bit.
Today, we are going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming and Doctor Strange. Before we get into it, what does that make this?
This makes this the official Michael Giacchino episode, which is not how you say his last name, but I'm not backing down from that.
Hey, he's always welcome on this show. So, Michael, if you're watching this, just shoot us a DM. We'll always have you on. We'll move our entire schedule aside for you.
I would.
Spider-Man Homecoming. It's got to be probably the Spider-Man movie in the MCU that I've rewatched the least. I've definitely seen it quite a few times. Yeah. But what are your guys' pre-score reveal thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming?
I love this movie.
That's great. Brody?
Hey. This one I was so excited to dive back into. Because I don't know if you guys have seen, but a lot of people have been switching up. Not really switching up, but going back to hating on John Watts' Spider-Man.
Yes,
just because we're getting a new director. We're getting a new director, which I'm very excited for as well. But everyone's going back and they're giving John Watts' Spider-Man a lot of hate, and him as a director for like not being able to do practical swinging and stuff and limitations like that he tried out and didn't work. And now we're seeing it be done. So a lot of people are going back and blaming him. But looking at these movies, because I just kept defending it. I was like, no, his movies were amazing, and they were the only ones to like get the teen style. Like he's actually in school for a lot of the movie. And going back to this movie, I was like, yes, I was correct. I wasn't just blindly defending. It actually is good, because I hadn't seen it in a while. So going back was fun.
And we're finally, it sounds, it's just a rumor. It finally sounds like we're going to get a payoff to one of the Easter eggs that was dropped in this movie. And we talked about it, and was it our first episode we ever did our Easter egg video?
I think
probably
so, yeah.
One of our first.
Maybe.
That was a very fun episode. Go check it out. It's probably the second or third episode we ever did, talking about Easter eggs in the MCU that never hatched. It was our Easter episode. So go check it out. We'll talk about what that Easter egg is at the end of this. But let's do our score reveal, guys. I'm gonna go first. I gave it a 16. Any immediate thoughts to that?
I think it's kind of low, in my opinion.
I think it's kind of low, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brody, you go ahead. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 23, and that's after I had to break it down. On our scoring thing, I ended up having like 24, 25, and I was like, I gotta cut some slack here.
But see, this is why my scoring, I feel like, has been the most consistent. I've been a little harsh, but I feel like I don't think I've given a single movie a 25 yet. And if I haven't, I know which one it's going to be, but we'll
probably
talk about
give
that
a
later.
show one. If I remember correctly, in our Iron Fist episode, you said 25 out of 25. Is there any way we can give it more than 25? I love the show so much.
No. You're getting it mistaken. No, you're getting it mistaken. It was Iron Fist.
About that.
You're getting it mistaken. Not Iron Heart, Iron Fist.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Did I
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ironheart?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my offense. I
And
didn't
then
I didn't mean to say that.
after that, I was like, can we please create a show about Stick? He needs like at least 25 episodes dedicated to him.
Right. Why
Can we
didn't he get a
please, Marvel,
spinoff?
please?
Iron Fist, I love your comic accurate outfit, and you were cast as the perfect person to play him, and your stunt work's amazing and not slow at all.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about all those projects. Why would you give it?
I gave it a 22.
Okay, I respect that score. I respect that score. Why you'll go ahead. What is your defense behind the 22? I don't know what you're munching on right now, but when
I
you're
mean
ready.
some. I mean some. Goofy's Candy Company, Sour
Oh
Bites.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wait. Can we get a quick call back to the Disney podcast with the Goofy thing? Do you recall what that
Oh,
was?
Goofy's Grippy Grabbers.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So yes, but we're just doing a bunch of plugs right now, kind of rambling. Go check out the E-Ticket Talk. It was a podcast. I say was because we haven't really filmed one in a while. It was a podcast where we talk about all things the Disney parks, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, even though we never talked about Adventures by Disney yet. Go check it out. It's some great stuff. It's all our armchair imagineering. We will get back to it at some point once the Marvel Cinematic Universe stops taking so much up of our time. Okay, but why? Go ahead. What is your defense behind the 22?
Right. I give this movie 22. I think this is one of the better Spider-Man movies we have. I really do like the John Watts Spider-Man. I think they kind of get the character well done, and they also balance the Peter Parker aspect that I think a lot of the other earlier Spider-Man necessarily lose sight of. I like how much this movie's left up to nuance. Like, you're supposed to just know how Spider-Man gets his powers. It's just a continuation of the Civil War storyline. You don't
Mm-hmm.
hear the whole Uncle Ben with great power comes great responsibility. You just kind of have to pick up on it from knowing the character and like the little lines that are referenced. I like that aspect of it. I like that MJ isn't a huge focal point of this movie. I like that she's just kind of like a very small background character at the time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it introduced Tom Holland and Zendaya to each other. Are they engaged now?
It might be.
I think people were spotting rings or something on the new Brand New Day stuff, but I don't know. Could be for the movie or something.
Well,
I don't know.
I love the
The
soundtrack on this movie.
Yeah,
Dude,
that is a bright spot.
This is the first Michael Giacchino score in the MCU,
Yes, I believe
I
so.
believe. And then later on, we get him directing and stuff. So
Mhm.
it's really cool to see this entry. When this came out, Spider-Man Homecoming came out not 2016, 2017?
I believe so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so this would have been like right after he had just done like Rogue One for Star Wars. So he was already kind of becoming a big name.
Yeah. No, we've gone through his portfolio before. He's got a great history of creating great sound and score. I'm gonna talk about the beginning of the movie a little bit. You know, we get introduced to the Department of Damage Control, which I believe is the very first time we've heard about this entity, right?
I believe so.
I got some very interesting vibes from the beginning of this movie, and I like how it ties in. It takes me back to Item 47. Item 47 was that
Ooh.
one shot we watched all those years ago. I liked how there's a thematic and story reason of why certain tech has gotten in the wrong hands, and I just like when they go down those rabbit holes because it's a very realistic scenario that would happen, right? You know, we have this big alien invasion, too big for everything to be thrown under a blanket, and technology gets in the wrong hands. So I love that aspect of it. I do have one thing to say though.
Okay.
Did you guys see, and this has been talked about on the internet for a long time, but how hard is it to change the movie from saying 8 years later to 6 years? Because 8 years in the future is canonically incorrect.
What probably happened is they put 8 years, and then Marvel was like, "Hey, we can fix this now that it's on Disney Plus and stuff. We can change this." And Sony's like, "If you do that, we own every character you ever own," and it breaks the contract. So that's why it
But
hasn't changed, probably.
But why do that? What's the point? They lose nothing. George
I don't
Lucas has
know.
been doing it for 45 years.
But also, surprisingly, we haven't been getting special editions of our movies. Like, weirdly enough, they're not going back and adding stuff to Star Wars right now. You know what I mean? Except for when it first got added to Disney Plus. But like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing because like you would think that with some of the stuff. I was gonna bring that up during our Black Panther episode. I was like, theoretically, they could go back and make this end fight seem better. But then it creates this confusing thing of when people watch it, like you're not seeing what the movie actually was on release. So it
But
just brings up so many questions about like,
but if
what
it's
do you
but
go
if
back and change?
but if it's enhancing the movie and everybody in totality agrees, the Black Panther ending scene was bad, or this little text that takes up 2 seconds is like destroying the canon pretty hard. Why not just change it?
It's
Why?
a
Do you have any
good
thoughts on this?
question.
I was gonna ask what's canonically happening. Like, what is the in the future? It then says what is happening.
So it said it was like right after the battle in New York. It was 2012. So 8 years in the future would be 2020, when in reality this movie is taking place in 2018 or 2017. So I don't know. It just kind of bugs me.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
I forgot that was a problem in the beginning of it till you said that. I will say the intro does like a very good setup of like where you're at. First they have the drawing, but like they have like the pan down from Avengers Tower to the building. You know what I mean? Like it's just a great quick explanation. You're in the battle in New York again. And it doesn't feel like cheesy. Like I don't know. We've had a lot of, since we've been watching the TV shows and stuff, we've had a lot of Battle in New York references and nods.
Yes.
This one is probably the most fitting one, and I think damage control is an interesting thing to add because you can kind of fill in the gaps and be like, oh, after that city was destroyed in Thor, who probably showed up? It was probably damage control. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of fill in the gaps on stuff that we've seen before and be like, they've probably been throughout the MCU just right after we left the scene. But she was like shady vibes. She was giving tons of shady vibes. I don't think she shows up anywhere outside of damage control, like in Shield and stuff. So I don't know. I tried looking back and I was like, maybe she was one of the people in Winter Soldier, like that we saw at Shield. I don't think she was. I think this is a first time introduction.
Why? What are your thoughts on damage control and the idea of introducing it?
I think they're cool. I like the way how it when it's showing the damage control, it's like who's your boss, and then it instantly pans to Iron Man. Well, not pans to him, but cuts to like the TV screen showing him.
And I talked about this a while ago. Actually, take us back to Iron Man 2 when we talked about it. Who did I say not Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark was similar to in our society?
Dr. Doom.
No, Elon Musk.
Dr. Doom's in our reality? Why it just broke
No.
the news?
I'd be terrified if Dr. Doom was in our reality. No,
Right.
I related Tony Stark to Elon Musk. So there's some.
Yeah.
And we talked about it last episode.
He was
the
there.
MCU,
He was
the
there in
MCU
Iron Man 2.
the MCU continues to mirror society perfectly, and they don't even know it.
It's
like The
just
Simpsons.
a great writing relevance thing that like it just always comes back to something that like could actually happen and then ends up happening.
Yeah.
So we'll get Iron Man soon. In real life, we'll get an Iron Man, and then that'll kick us all off. And then we'll fight a giant table space guy.
I think Obama already announced that back in like
That's true.
2014. He's like, we built Iron Man.
I forgot about that clip. That's funny.
So okay, let's talk about Tom Holland Spider-Man. We got some snippets of him in Civil War. How do you guys feel about this version of Spider-Man? And I will allow you guys to talk about previous iterations of Spider-Man, even though we will be watching them in the future. I will allow you guys to talk about that.
I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man a lot. I think he captures the age relatively well comparative to what we've seen in the other two franchises. I think there's a lot, the high school vibe and the whole Peter Parker vibe works a lot better for Tom Holland's Spider-Man than it does necessarily Tobey or Andrews. And that's why I say I don't like those two Spider-Man franchises. I like them both equally. But I don't know. To me, Tom Holland's always kind of been my personal favorite.
He's a very playful Spider-Man. That's how I worded it in
Yes.
my notes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and especially, like, I feel like he's very playful, even if you didn't watch any other Spider-Mans before. But then when you compare it to, Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, like, there is a stark difference to um, how they present the characters, and I think it's very interesting because I also think too that did the other Spider-Man, like Andrew Garfield, he was in high school as well, right? Or was he in college?
He was
He
in
was in
high
high school
school.
He
senior
was.
year. He graduates in the second one.
Mm.
So I just think it's cool
Spoiler.
how that he brings this new energy to the character, a different spin. Like we said, it's not your typical Spider-Man movie where you're talking about
Mm.
Uncle Ben. I don't even think they mention Uncle Ben once in the movie, do they?
No, the first reference to Uncle Ben comes in No Far From Home.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
almost thought it was in this movie because he like goes to like get a bag or he's like going to put the suit on, and for some reason I thought the initials were there. But dude, Tom Holland Spider-Man is amazing. Tom Holland Peter Parker is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up watching only like the first Spider-Man. Like that was the DVD I had. None of the sequels, none of the nothing. It was just Tobey Maguire's first movie, and that's amazing. But they don't look like teenagers. It's
Mhm.
just the way it is. Like even Andrew Garfield, as much as I love him, like he was getting closer to that. But Tom Holland actually being like a young guy, you actually are fully like in the belief of what Tony Stark's saying about the risk, about Peter actually wanting to get out and do more. Like everything is just so much more believable because he's actually the age set that this is. And now in retrospect, obviously we know that like this wasn't his origin story. You know what I mean? Like now we're getting to Spider-Man stuff with the new movies.
Mm-hmm.
So while people were criticizing like Spider-Boy, he's too young, all that stuff, now that we're seeing it where we're getting a full picture of what the actual plan was or what ended up happening, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's so much better to go back and be like, we actually have the high school years for him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It feels weird knowing that we're gonna be getting like an adult Spider-Man. And you even get that with the location. Like he's in Queens this whole movie, so he's not even well, I mean, he goes to Washington, DC, but he doesn't swing most of the movie because there's no buildings that are like super tall for him to swing on. He's mostly
Mm-hmm.
like jumping rooftop to rooftop and using webs here and there. So then you're not getting those huge swings, but in retrospect, that just gives you like more to look forward to. And like him actually moving away is just going to be so much better.
I
Do you
think
think?
that
Go ahead. What?
Tom Holland's Spider-Man much more fits the MCU as well. Like, it'd be very hard to
Completely
picture
agree.
Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield being in a Marvel MCU movie for a long
And it
period of
just
time.
makes the reasoning like way better. Because like I was like, I'm someone who really likes when Spider-Man's webs are like natural, just because it
Hmm.
makes them seem like weirder, more like stand out. You know what I mean? And not just like technology. But like in the MCU, it makes so much more sense that he makes the web fluid. And like that's what like draws Stark's attention to this kid, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it's just one where the MCU really answers the questions about, oh, why are things this certain way? Why don't we have an Uncle Ben? Oh, because Tony Stark's gonna be here. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It has great reasoning on all sides for why it's doing what it's doing.
Well, yeah. Continuing to have Tony Stark in this movie, I think, helps. You know, the big reason of why all these MCU Spider-Man movies that are made by Sony have these other MCU characters in it more than really any other franchise that we see. It's a marketing ploy, but they write it into the story so freaking well.
So well.
And I think that's just you got to applaud Sony and Marvel being able to work together because in all reality, neither of them really owe each other anything, but they come together to make these
Yeah.
movies. So I got to give them a applause for that. how do we feel about Michael Keaton?
He's
A big time
amazing,
I
actor.
dude.
I think he's so good in this movie.
Yeah,
He's
he really
fantastic.
knocked it out of the park, I think.
I just
Uh,
I love everything about it. I love that he's playing the vulture. Because, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but back when they were, like, thinking about doing a Spider-Man 4 for Tobey Maguire, Vulture was going to be the guy. Like, there's full
mhm.
storyboards of, like, the Vulture fight and all that. So I like that they kind of took that idea and moved Vulture over here. This scrap thing just, like, makes complete sense for his character. But Michael Keaton, like, kills it, dude. Especially in my favorite scene in the movie, which we'll get into a little bit later, probably.
Mhm.
But I think that scene's amazing, like, mainly because of him.
Do you guys want to know a fun fact about Michael Keaton?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Let me take you to Habanero Hots in the 90s.
Okay.
Michael Keaton was there eating at Habanero Hots. It's a restaurant in Lodi.
Oh,
Go check
our
it out.
habanero nuts.
Yeah. In
Oh
Lodi.
my goodness. Is his photo on the wall? Did he get a t-shirt?
No, but my mom served him.
What?
She had no idea who he was. Didn't know he was
I,
Batman.
I like to imagine he was in a full Batman costume. Yeah, man. And he's just eating there. And, like, she still didn't know. Like, he's just sitting there in a full Batman costume and is like, who is this guy? And then he, like,
That's my
had to
fun
leave
fact about
because he saw
Michael
the
Keaton.
bat signal outside.
But I also wanted to say, and I wrote this down in my notes, there are like solid 10, 15-second portions of this movie I just do not remember ever watching. They add nothing to
Like,
the
which
story.
portions?
You know, I think it's like more of like the B-roll of the movie, like or like the transitions. And
Oh, like
I'd like
little
to
side
say
jokes,
most,
little things.
yeah, and I'd like to say for most of the MCU movies that I've seen before, like I remember almost every portion of the movie. But this
Really?
movie, it kind of surprised me. There's just so many like little snippets that I just did not remember ever happening.
I think that's also because just the filming style. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's very fast paced. Like, just because it's a lot of, like, comedy and stuff, and they're cutting back and forth between jokes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, like, it is a pretty fast paced movie. So I think that's where you're getting, like, those little side moments and things like that.
Uh-huh. And another credit I want to give to this movie for the writing is there's just a ton of like great Easter eggs. Like they get the Triskelion gets mentioned when it collapsed. Like I thought that was a cool mention from Winter
Right?
Soldier.
You get
Um,
Shocker.
yeah, we get Shocker. I think this movie does a really good job of Easter eggs. We get
Tinkerer,
uh
not Tinkerer, but the guy who
Prowler.
is making Prowler's in it. The guy who's making his weapons as a character too. I just can't remember his name.
oh,
Uh,
The guy who's making the vultures like
yeah,
tools and
I think it is
weapons.
the Tinker, right? The guy who's like, "Oh, you know, I'm
It
curious.
might
I'm gonna
be
like look in your phone." I thought it was the Tinker. It's something like that.
what is that from?
Marvel Comics.
Oh, well,
I might
learn
have the
something new
wrong
today.
name. The Tinker might be the name of someone in DC,
I'm pretty sure it is
Uh,
but
someone in
I know
DC.
that
That's why I
I know
think
that
it's
that
wrong.
dude is something. The guy that's making all the equipment.
Hmm.
That is true.
But I'm going to give you guys open floor. I got a lot of my thoughts out now. Most of my other notes are towards the end of the movie, but what did you guys think about the middle portion of the movie?
I was gonna speak on the suit. I think the suit. I think the suit is. I love the suit. I think it's very well done. I think the blue looks really nice. The bright blue compared to the
Hmm.
usual really dark blue we always get.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. What do you think about them writing into the story? And obviously, this was in Civil War already, but it being a an Iron Man-esque Spider-Man suit.
I like it. I think it's very interesting, very unique, and it's a great little like thing that separate the MCU from the other two Spider-Man franchises.
Hmm. Do you think it's used at least in this movie too much as a prop or a MacGuffin?
Um, no, I think it's fine. And I also like how that little storyline with him learning more about the suit doesn't necessarily carry over to the next couple.
Hmm.
And you can definitely tell that fan response to all the Stark involvement kind of got to them as they were writing the second one and third one,
Yeah.
especially in terms of the technology for the suit.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel about just as we're talking about suits? Did you like that the final fight was done in his old school sweatsuit?
I do. I think it's a very common superhero trope, but I also think it works so well for this character of Spider-Man. And they kind of have that message throughout the whole movie that if you don't have the suit, then you don't need it. Or, sorry, if you need the suit, then you shouldn't have it at all. So that
Mhm.
kind of message is very prevalent near the end.
That line's amazing because it's literally like Tony learning from what Cap said to him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you look back at Avengers and you're like, oh, he doesn't care about that line. You know what I mean? He says starts saying he's a genius, a philanthropist, you know what I mean, a playboy. And you're like, he doesn't care about what Cap says. And then to see him kind of reflect what Cap said at Peter is like a great way to show like Tony is learning from being in the Avengers. He is becoming a different person. It's just
hmm
great to like have him act different than he did in that original scene.
Mm-hmm. Brody, I know you said you had some thoughts about the beginning of the movie. What
I was
what,
just
what
gonna
were you going
say
to talk about?
the little vlog thing. The little vlog
Mm.
thing is amazing. It instantly hooks you into like Peter's perspective and who he is. John Favreau is so funny in this movie. Like Happy Hogan is this is like the first time we're getting Happy Hogan as like a character for like more than like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess in Iron Man 2 he was around quite a bit, but like I just love how he is in this movie. I think he plays off Peter Parker so well. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Um, but I just thought the intro, and we also get in the video vlog a little nod to the fact that that kid might be or is Peter Parker now,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
see
And I
the
think,
the Stark Expo,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then he's
You know, I
like,
think,
he says something.
I think it's what's interesting about Happy Hogan, John Favreau playing him in this movie, like, obviously his promotion happened in Iron Man 2, right?
hmm
Or was it Iron
Yes,
Man 3?
Iron Man
something to
But we
10,
fly
I
out
want
of
finally,
to say.
security.
get to see him now, like, actually in a position of power. And he doesn't have to rely on Tony Stark the whole time. So it's kind of cool because to see that, because Spider-Man is, even though he is Spider-Man and he's, incredibly strong, incredibly powerful, he still has to work up the ranks, and he's got this direct access to Tony Stark, but a lot of the movie he is having to talk to Happy Hogan because he is like overwatching him. So
And I just
I think that's cool to me.
I love all those scenes though of like his phone like being blown up with messages. Like Peter's
Uh,
just like sending. Because like Peter wants to do the right thing. He wants to be like involved with like helping with like greater problems. And
yeah.
it's just a great story, dude. Like the premise of this movie, the name of it, Spider-Man Homecoming, like setting this during his homecoming dance is like the most Spider-Man plot or like set piece that you could have. Like this scene
Hmm.
just has so many great moments of like Peter would love to do this, to like hang out with his friends. He would love to just go to the party and like be liked. You know what I mean? And he's in the Spider-Man
Hmm.
outfit, like looking down there, and then he has to go fight. He wants to go to the pool and hang out with his group. You know what I mean? And then he's got to go
Yeah.
fight. They do such a good job at showing like Peter's there, like he can do these things. It's not like he's being like completely left out, but he simply just can't because he always gets like pulled away to do something else.
Hmm.
And like this movie just makes you really feel for Peter Parker. Like of all the shops that gets a laser beam through it, it's a sandwich shop. Like
Yeah.
he just feels like
hmm
terrible about like all this stuff that's happening, and you just really feel for him.
And what's cool about it, just some like behind the scenes stuff. They actually sent Tom Holland to an American high school, like in preparation for a homecoming dance,
It's what they
because
say.
he's incredibly British. Um, I just think that was cool to do, and I feel like that
Yeah,
does kind of come through in the movie.
completely. But like I think also like the Ferris Bueller vibes. Like I love that scene where it's playing Ferris Bueller as he's like running through the backyard, and
Hmm.
it's like a direct like reference because that's what John Watts said he's really inspired by is by like
Yeah.
Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller. You mean all those
Yeah.
John Hughes movies. And I think it really comes across. It feels like it's a John Hughes Spider-Man, and Tom Holland very much gives. It's not a John Hughes movie, but Back to the Future. Like this feels like Marty McFly. That's what his performance
Yeah.
feels like. Like he's like
Mhm.
Mr. Stark, blah blah. You mean? And you're just saying that like how Marty McFly would say Doc, but like it's just such a good approach to the role, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the tone's just awesome.
You know a guy who loves the high school vibes of this, and I have a quote from him specifically. He loves the portrayal of high school in this movie is Brendan.
I
And
thought
the
you were
I
gonna
joke
believe that.
the joke he goes to every single time, he says it perfectly portrays high school, which I thought was kind of weird, was when Flash Thompson, is that his name?
Yeah,
He's never referred to as Flash, I don't believe.
Yes, he is.
He is?
I think yeah.
Oh,
Come Flash the whole movie.
He's DJ Flash, man.
well, he Brendan always mentions the joke penis Parker. He thinks
That
that's a perfect.
That is so funny.
He
I
says
love
that's a
the
perfect
twist.
portrayal of high school, and I was like, well, I've never heard. Well, I didn't know anybody with the last name Parker, Peter Parker, that was in high school. That'd actually be very weird if I knew a guy named Peter Parker in high school. But he
Start
thinks that's a
raising some
perfect portrayal
questions.
of high school. Yeah,
I
I think that the way they do Flash in this
so
movie is
good.
so well done too, and I think
I
it
love
fits with the it fits with the time so much more than the other two movies. Because I mean,
completely.
like in the original Tobey Maguire, you have Flash, who's this giant, brainless nerd jock running around hitting them. I mean, like in modern day high school, you don't really have guys like giving you swirlies and flipping your lunch tray in the air and being like nerd.
Right.
You do have the guy who's a bit of a smartass who probably thinks a little higher than himself than he should, just being a bit of a dick to you every single day.
I think we all know people like that.
So I think Flash works so much better in this too, and I like that he's not like Peter's like arch nemesis. Like they don't like like you get the vibe that Peter would probably consider him a friend technically still, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's the penis Parker thing's crazy because
so
he's not
funny.
even at the party anymore. Like he's been gone for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, right? And Ned's like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't come back." Like, have they been chanting that for 30 minutes while he's been gone?
That's so funny.
Like, Flash is
I
like,
say
"Hey, I haven't
penis,
seen
you
that guy in
say
a while."
Parker. Penis.
Right?
Parker.
It's just crazy that it's been like a while, and he's like, I still gotta like talk him down somehow, even though he's not even here.
Yeah.
But like, dude, this movie's amazing. What are we getting into favorite scenes?
Yeah, go for it.
Dude, the greatest chunk of this movie it's when the door opens and he's picking up his date. Like, this is the greatest moment when it's Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Because, like, even though story-wise, if you're trying to piece it together, you could probably figure out that, like, oh yeah, Michael Keaton's gonna be Liz's dad. You could probably piece that together if you really wanted to. But having the house party, her parents are gone, so they don't meet, and then you get that final scene when the door opens, and it's when Peter's trying so hard, not trying so hard, but he's being forced to not be Spider-Man as much. He doesn't have the suit. So he's just trying to be Peter Parker. He's trying to just be normal him. He's building the Death Star. He's trying to do all the right things. And then on the night of his homecoming dance, he's thrown for a loop. And this guy he's been chasing down is his date's dad. And that scene is just so perfect. Like, right when your heart sinks watching it, you can like see Tom Holland like just get like terrified. Well, just because not even just danger, just like the situation. Like, what's he gonna do?
I would say even a better scene than directly when he's in the house is when they move to the car.
That's
where I was going.
Really good.
That's why I was saying the best chunk, because like from this moment to them talking in the car, like I just love how like freaked out Peter Parker looks. He looks so scared.
From that moment till the end of the movie is the best chunk of that whole movie.
Yeah, but I think it's mainly just because of the setup of the beginning. Like, there's tons of stuff like
the big moments for Peter as Spider-Man at the dance, then making that decision. I have to leave. I have to throw this chance out the window to go do what's right. And then you have, and then when there's that the rubble falls on him and he's pinned under the rubble, you have his Spider-Man moment.
So
again
good.
directly after that scene, which is I think is so well done that I think that is even a better setup into those two final moments at the end of the movie.
It's just so well performed too. Like you get like he's like crying for help. Like it
Hmm.
hurts to watch. Like he's acting so well in that scene. And then to
It
hear him
reminds me
just
a lot
suddenly
of
switch to like calling himself Spider-Man in that scene. Like
have
he's
you guys
like,
seen the
you gotta
comic
do
panel?
this.
There's a comic run where I think this Spider-Man moment draws a lot of inspiration from. Peter's
Yeah.
under like a giant column, and the whole comic book is he's under the column, and the whole comic book is just him like telling himself to like push through all like, and it just goes into detail about how he's feeling and all that. And it's such a
Yeah.
great comic book.
So good, dude. But like even before that scene, before you like quite get to all that, like I love that scene of them in the car, like you're saying, when he's piecing it together, and then the light turns green when it clicks to like Michael Keaton that that's Spider-Man. Like that scene's amazing.
Hmm.
And then just that talk in the car where he's like straight up just saying like I will kill everyone you know. Like just
Hmm.
it's so good. And then him going into the school dance and then just being like, I gotta go. And he's running through the hall. I also love in this movie every time he like switches into the suit, you see him like putting his stuff away, grabbing his suit
Hmm.
from somewhere. You know what I mean, lifting up the locker and he's got something hidden under there. They do a great job at like showing like the practicality of it. Like, no, 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 let's not speed past that. Let's show him like struggling to get into the suit for 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
I
this kid's
agree. I like
actually
that
like
part.
new to
I like.
this, and it's so good.
Hmm.
But like, I don't know that dance scene's just so good, and I love how MJ just like flips him off. Like, you just got to the party. Like MJ's like just as much of a pain as like Flash. He just gets there and she flips him off for no reason. But like, I don't know. And then that final fight's so good because it takes like a twist on like the Goblin that we got in the first Spider-Man movie way back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, instead of the glider, it's going to be his wings. So he does the whole like he's talking to Peter. It's like, oh, it takes a second to boot up, and it flies at him. And it's like just
Yeah.
like in like Spider-Man, when he's like, Godspeed, Spider-Man, and the glider comes in. But
Hmm.
like that whole, it's so good. Like this movie's just so fun to watch.
No, it is an
It's awesome.
incredibly a fun movie to watch. Brody, I think you were gone for a second. We were talking about the his, OG suit or his sweatsuit. I
Oh,
kind
it's
of
amazing.
completely forgot that the whole final fight happens in his original suit. Like if you would have asked me, what suit is he wearing in the final fight of the Homecoming, before I rewatched this movie, I would have been like, oh well, obviously he's in the suit that Tony Stark gave him, right? But I think it just adds some personality um, to that
Oh, he's
final
gone.
fight scene. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'm still talking to you. I'm talking to the people, our listeners.
That is just funny. I agree. Well, I mean, it's a very common trope in these superhero movies.
Yeah. Brody, did you hear what I
Which
said?
I heard that we're talking about the OG suit, and you forgot that he was in that suit for the final fight.
Yeah, that's really all I had to say. I just think it's a nice like little twist that you
There
would
was
assume.
like a little bit where I was like, there's no way he's breathing up there. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
with that mask he's breathing up there. But other
hmm
than that, is just better for the story.
Well, and like we've been saying, the foreshadowing that we see with Tony Stark. When Tony Stark is in a final fight, you know, the mistake that he made with the suit, the next movie,
The
it gets
altitude.
upgraded. And the next time we see Spider-Man, we see that very same issue get fixed.
That is true.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
But and I love just the parallels to Iron Man. Like
Mm-hmm.
the same in the Iron Man movie, Peter's got a villain who's like, "Oh, I'll just take him up super high in the air, and like that'll kill him." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know that final, and also the jet. I think is a little callback. You remember in Iron Man 2?
Wow. I don't remember what he's talking about in Iron
I
Man
don't
2.
remember Iron Man 2. I've never actually seen that one.
Well, while
So
while we wait for Brody, why I do have a question. There's some characters we haven't really talked about all that much yet. Ned and
mhm.
MJ. We talked about MJ a little bit, but how do you feel about those characters?
I think the MJ's cool. I think it's very well done in terms of meshing with the way they're portraying Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Fine
I
with
like
me.
how it's a different little take away from what not Peter Parker, what Tobey Maguire's did, where MJ is like just the traditional girl he's had a crush on forever, doesn't really like him, learns to like him. I think that the way they do Tom Holland's much more captures a kind of high school relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And I think that Ned, I don't think it's anything special, but I think again, it's just something more unique than the traditional Harry Osborn we see as Spider-Man's best friend. And I think a part of that, the reason they don't have MJ in this movie or Harry Osborn, instead it's Ned, is because it really leaves no characters to take away from your Peter Parker development or the story of Peter Parker in your first movie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to worry about building on the MJ relationship. You don't have to worry about Harry Osborn with the whole his father thing and the whole Green Goblin situation like there is in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I agree. I think the way that they handle the characters in this iteration is just it's cool. It's cool to see a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say one thing before I got so rudely silenced and interrupted by the internet connection. But the jet on moving day, I think, is the callback to in Iron Man 2. I think it's Iron Man 2, or is it Iron Man 3? When is he talking with the kid about like his suit and like the changes the kid would make to it?
3.
It's 3. So like
Iron Man
Iron
3.
Man 3.
the kid's talking about like, oh, if I made Iron Man suit, I would add these reflective panels so you can't see it. Like it has like a stealth mode. And though we don't see that in Iron Man suit,
Mm-hmm.
this is like the only time we really see like a stealth thing, and it is Tony's. So I like to think that
Oh,
Stark
yeah,
thought
yeah,
of that
yeah.
with that stuff. But I don't know. The whole moving day thing is really interesting. Just because we had already had the Avengers Institute with like, or is it the Institute or the facility or whatever? We had already
Yeah, the
Yeah.
had
one in
that like
Ant-Man.
with referenced with Ant-Man and stuff. And because at this time, I don't know if you guys remember, the presumable thing that everyone was thinking was, oh, someone bought the tower. We don't have
Yes,
the
they're building them.
Fantastic Four yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People thought that that was going to happen. Uh, so I
We
don't
didn't
know. It's
find
just
out who bought
interesting
that
going
building
back.
until months
It
ago,
still
and
could happen.
that's
It still
crazy.
could. We don't,
It
you
still
know, we don't
could.
know. We haven't watched it yet, so
We
I
know
don't
who.
know.
It's interesting.
Wait, I'm playing along with the rewatch.
Yeah, I get confused with your
He's got
sarcasm
to be in
sometimes.
character. Dude, we got I don't know. I also love just how many school scenes there are.
Uh-huh.
Like it's not just like in the old movies, the school scenes were like for one quick scene. Like, oh, we want to have Flash Thompson be a pain to this guy, so we'll go to the school, I guess. Oh, we
Uh-huh.
need like one scene of like Peter and MJ like connecting. We'll go to the school.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it's
Mm-hmm.
got tons of side stuff. Like he's
Usually,
like
it's
making the web fluid in class. He's in detention. They're just around way more.
the one school scene in every movie is usually Peter learning about his powers. Like, oh, I can do this now, and it's like beating up the
Right.
bully,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and he's gone.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting for sure. Oh, the one thing as we are talking about the school scenes, and I think we've talked about this before. I think Brody was the one that mentioned it to me that the principal of the high school that he's at is the grandson of one of the Howling Commandos from Captain America,
Oh, I
right?
think Brody did mention that. I don't know anything about that, but I remember Brody saying something like that.
Yeah, I don't think you really know that other than if you were to pause that scene when he's in the principal's office and you could see a picture of his grandpa.
All the background characters in this show are very are very nice. Hannibal
Mhm.
Buress is hilarious. All the scenes with Captain America, like as the gym the PE video guy are so funny.
Dude, my favorite.
I think this guy's a war criminal now, but I guess
I was gonna say,
state still lets me show these.
I
He's
love
so
that
funny.
line.
I guess this guy's a war criminal now or something.
What else? Oh yeah, that's what I said. The second end credit scene with Captain America. I think that end credit scene gets a little bit of hate, but I think it's criminally underrated. It's a hilarious scene. And we've had other end credit scenes where people wait and are waiting for a big moment to happen in the MCU. But you have this like weird meta joke that, he's basically saying like patience and sometimes waiting doesn't always get the stuff that you want,
It's unironically probably the most iconic moment from this movie. Like it's the joke that everyone remembers. And like it just got like an emote in Marvel Rivals. Like it's stuck around. But I also love when they're first showing like the video with them, the gym teacher, like Hannibal's standing there and he's like, Captain America's like, your gym teacher, and puts his hand out and then he's standing on the opposite side. I love that joke so much. I just love like the little jokes in this movie, or like the video for the school news, having the green screen like cut in, and it's like really poorly edited.
The school news stuff is so funny.
I love all that stuff, and they're like, "Thank
the way
you, Spider-Man."
The monotone, thanks, Spider-Man. I think it's so funny,
and it's just so great because like Betty Brant, like in the comics, ends up I think being a news reporter, right? So it's just so great to see,
sure,
like,
yeah, she's a Spider.
Yeah, so it's just great to see, like, oh, true. Wait, is her character in the Tobey Maguire movies the person played by Elizabeth Banks? Is that her?
No, that's Gwen Stacy.
Okay. No, that's Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, you're right.
The girl that like
I think you're right, Brady.
with Jonah.
I think you are right.
Now that I'm thinking of her name, I never connected that.
I think you
I always
probably
thought she was just like a random front desk character. But yeah, I think making her the school news person is just super fascinating. It's a really great way. Because, like, I don't know. I hope we get, like, later on, like, full news person Betty Brant. And it would just be cool to see.
Well, I think we do.
Do we? I don't remember if we got, like, a full professional.
No.
Did we?
I think she is in the Spider-Man.
You're
No
probably
Way Home.
right. I'm kind of remembering it. I just didn't remember if it was still for the school or not. Interesting.
Well, do you guys have any other thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming? Yeah.
Great movie, man. And it's very rewatchable.
A great movie. And this is a constant talking point in Marvel movies, but this is an iconic theme. When you hear this, this
stuck
is
in my
Spider-Man.
head, dude.
It's so good. So good. Well, if you guys don't have any more thoughts on Spider-Man, we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange in just a moment after this break. This episode is sponsored by Effortless Expeditions, a Disney Center travel agency, here to help you plan your next Disney vacation. Contact them today for a free, no-obligation quote. Wherever the destination is, they make the experience truly effortless. And while we're on the topic of making things effortless, this episode of The Sacred Rewatch is also brought to you by Bronson Made, a digital marketing and branding agency that helps businesses grow and stand out. With the idea of our canvas, your story, Bronson Made makes the creative process simple, collaborative, and effective. Find out more at bronsonmade.com or follow them on Instagram or LinkedIn at Bronson Made. And we are back, ready to talk about Stephen Strange. This is a, we talked about this a little off air. This is a very unique movie. And I think when I saw this in the theaters at the time, I knew it was an interesting movie. And this was like another point in my history of the MCU. Where like, some of these stories that they're telling are very intriguing to me. Never like really went into it more after that at the time. But I don't know. Just as I saw this movie as a casual viewer. This movie always like piqued an interest in me just for how different it was. Not just to other superhero movies, but just movies as a whole. What do you guys have before we reveal our scores?
I think it definitely does have a little bit of a different tone than the other Marvel movies. It definitely feels more mystical. And I think it's mainly because this is really the first Marvel movie we had that deals with magic and not
Mm-hmm.
just advanced science or alien science, which is pretty much advanced science. And it does kind of have that kind of much more magical, mystical leaning tone to the start. I would think so, at least. I would say so.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I
and
also
go ahead.
think it's a very dark movie, not just in terms of like tone and not necessarily graphicness, but in terms of tone, it's a very dark color scale. I didn't really remember that till I rewatched it. It's a lot of rainy, cloudy, overcast skies.
Yeah, no, and the visuals speak for itself, especially like the idea of the mirror dimension. It's just so physically, or not physically, visually appealing to look at. Um, and
I think
it's
what
written into the story perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I do think as much as I don't like the dark color palette with all the dark clothes and the dark lighting, it does make the magic pop a little more. Like it does make the
Mm-hmm.
sling
Mm-hmm.
rings look a little more better. It makes those moments when he gets teleported, all not teleported, but the ancient one like flicks his brain, he goes flying through all those like dimensions. It makes
Mm-hmm.
those bright moments pop a little more, which I do think
Mm-hmm.
adds a good little bit to the movie.
And it feels like it's actually opening the world for like Doctor Strange's world because everything we see of
Hmm.
that's like very pretty gloomy. You know what I mean? But I will say this movie like feels like a standalone movie. Like this feels like a movie that wouldn't be attached to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like this feels like a Sony movie
100%.
that's in another universe because there's very little to tie it into the MCU. Very little. And like especially the whole first 30 minutes, it just feels like a movie that would have just been released on its own and not connected to anything,
Hmm.
which makes it a really interesting watch through.
Well, very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, you really do get introduced to a whole new world in the MCU, a whole different idea
Whole new
of what
world.
it
This
is to
changed
be a
everything.
super. Yeah, I mean, the idea of dimensions, the idea of magic, like we have truly never seen anything like this.
Even
So I
with
think that's also why it stands out.
Thor
But
and
even going
stuff.
back, like,
I also think following a trend these last couple of MCU movies have had, the cast in this movie is just great. Like,
uh
Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One is amazing and fills the role perfectly. Benedict Cumberbatch
Yes.
as Doctor Strange seems like it's up there with the Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. type of casting, Chris Evans America
So
type
good.
of casting. Like he just looks so perfect in that role.
It scared me
I'm
when he
blanking
didn't
on
have
her
the
name.
beard though.
It's not,
Rachel
it's,
McAdams,
yes, I say, is it Rachel McAdams? She's
Yeah.
great in this movie as Doctor
Christine Palmer.
Christine. Yes, Christine Palmer.
The Palmer Strange method.
Mordu, Mordu does great in this movie for what he is. Same with Benedict Wong. Benedict Wong is great as Wong. It's a very, it's a set of humor and comedic relief that I think only would fit with this Doctor Strange type of movie.
Well, and that's something I want to say about Benedict Wong. I don't remember Benedict Wong as a um his character. Like when we see him in the future, he does not act the way that he does in this movie, and maybe that is because he's got a lot of growth after the events that take place in this movie. That's kind of my headcanon, but
Mhm.
he seemed very jokey in this movie. And the one scene that I always like point to is um after he defeats Dormammu. Spoiler alert. Um, he's just like standing in the street, laughing. It's just like it's funny, but it's like kind of awkward. I don't know. That's a scene always like points out to me. Um, because I also feel like too that if that scene were to happen in today's MCU, I feel like it would get a lot of hate and by people saying, "Oh, the MCU is trying to be too funny." Do you feel that way, Wyatt?
Mhm. Well, I think the difference is this movie has a lot. He's the only real character who brings those comedic tones. Whereas like you have a lot of pretty grim, dark moments in this movie. Like at the start where that one unnamed sorcerer gets his head chopped off.
Hmm.
Doctor Strange, when he hurts his hand, it's a relatively intense scene. When he gets in the car crash, spins out, wakes up in the hospital with all the pins in his hands. It's a very intense scene from that point on, and then showing his recovery. You have like when the Ancient One falls and just hits the ground. It's a very surprisingly real scene for the MCU. Not so much back then, because there was plenty of kind of like intenser moments, but especially with where we are now in the MCU, the idea of a scene where a character just full on smashes against the ground, it doesn't really feel like it would be seen nowadays.
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, you know, let I'd like to do our score reveal so we can, have
Oh
full access
yes.
to talking about this movie. Wyatt, let's start with you.
Ooh, I gave it a 13.
Really?
Yeah, I think this movie stinks low key.
Wow. It's probably the first time in a while that you've rated something lower than me.
I know I've been on a hot run, which is I don't remember it. I don't remember disliking it. I don't remember liking it, or sorry, disliking it as much as I did. I remember it being somewhat alright, but then rewatching it, it's just something wasn't clicking with me. It felt very kind of boring on a rewatch.
Well, and this is kind of a question that I want you guys to start thinking about more and more, as we are truly in the thick of it. Do you like, is this a movie to you, Wyatt, that you felt a little bit of MCU burnout?
Um, no, I wouldn't say that. I didn't really feel much burnout. I actually think this movie felt very unique compared to the other movies, so I think it kind of didn't really allow for the burnout to be felt.
Yeah, and that is one of my worries as we do this, a little bit of burnout. Um, especially with the TV shows, but with the movies, people talk about burnout when there's 3 movies in one year, right? And we've
Hmm.
watched, I don't know, 22 movies in like 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's something I want you guys to think about, when you come out of watching one of these movies, how much of your thoughts are you attributing to, just the pure workload that we're undergoing? Brody, what did
Yeah.
you give it as a score?
I gave it a 17 out of 25. It was higher than I expected.
Okay.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I've only seen this movie like once before, probably. Um, but going
Uh-huh.
back to what you were saying with the burnout thing, I think one of the main things I felt like this tied into with like modern MCU stuff is there's not really a connection between Strange and Dormammu, like an emotional connection. Like going
Mm,
from Spider-Man to
Hmm.
this, Vulture being Liz's dad is like a great connection, a great emotional ground point. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And as much as I love the fight with Dormammu and stuff, I feel like that's the main thing that wasn't getting me hooked into the end of the arc or into the end of the story with this one. Is I was like, this is a really cool fight,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really know Dormammu like that. You know what I mean? It's not really a
Hmm.
super emotional thing because of
And it's
that. And I feel
also
like we get that in modern MCU a little bit, where
it's only
villain's
been an
just a
hour and a
villain.
half of the movie, so you don't really kind of understand why he cares so much about the kind of like protecting against Dormammu and the ancient time stone and all that. Because to you, he's only been in the wizarding, or sorry, the sorcerer kind of like club for only an hour of the movie.
Yeah, completely. And that's just like how I started feeling about it. I was like, just certain things where I feel like we do get that with modern MCU, where a villain's just kind of a villain, which can be fun sometimes. It doesn't always have to be a personal connection, but I was just kind of like, eh, just, you know what I mean? It's kind of simple with this one.
Well, and we just kind of went over it, but in terms of the MCU and where we are, this is a big focal point. We get introduced to the Time Stone. Um,
True.
how do you guys feel about the impact of the Time Stone and how its powers are? Do you guys like the idea of it? Do you think it's played out well?
I do.
It's dangerous. It's risky. When you open yourself up to anything with time, it's tricky. Just because it can get like
Mm-hmm.
different time cycles, different time travel things, you know what I mean? Like it can get pretty risky including that into a story like this. Especially when you have something as linear as the
I
MCU
do
so
like how
Yeah.
far.
they keep the time stone relatively weak for the movie. Like you only really see Strange use it to kind of like on the apple when he's testing around at the beginning, and then you kind of only see him use it to really trap Dormammu in a time loop. You don't really see any like severe out of movie, but like potential risks that is used for, which I think is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. True.
How do you? I mean, at this point, is this our 5th Infinity Stone we've seen?
I don't know if we knew it at
I
the
think we've
time.
seen almost every one besides one.
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah.
knew it at the time, but yeah,
Mhm.
I think so. I think you're right.
Um. Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to talk to, just like in the grander scale of the MCU, um, we just get introduced to a lot of like artifacts that are incredibly important. And at the time, I didn't realize this at all. But looking back, Mordo sit and claiming and holding the staff of the Living Tribunal just in like a normal fight as like a sparring session is
Mhm.
insane.
Well, it's one of those things that was obviously supposed to be nothing more than an Easter egg, and then kind of got picked up on it once fans really put it into context. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, we don't get much more of the Living Tribunal. After that mention, we get some stuff in some alternate universes as we go forward. But I don't know. I just think that's a cool Easter egg, you know? And it makes you wonder, like, how did they obtain that? Especially with the grand nature of the Living Tribunal. Wait,
I
let's
like
talk
the
about your
cloak
score
of
a little bit.
yeah.
You gave it a
Let me go
13. I
look.
gave it a 15.5. Sorry, I don't think I clarified that. I gave it a 15.5, so I was right in the middle
I'm
of you
pretty
guys.
sure. Let me double check on what I knocked it on the most was sound and score and rewatchability. I
Mm.
just feel like the sound and the score really didn't really do much for me at all. This movie.
Yeah. I think there's some like really good theme points, singular points for Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
but they don't like really repeat it all that much. And um, it's that instrument. I can't tell you what the instrument is. You know what I'm talking about, but it's
Yeah,
it's very unique.
I think what that
Um,
is.
so I gave sound and score a 2.5 because of that. Because I think at some points the theme that is played is fantastic, but they just consistency wise they don't play it the right way in my opinion. Brody, you love sound and score as a whole, as a scoring system. What are
I
your
do.
thoughts on sound and score for Doctor Strange?
Well, the thing is, if it's Michael Giacchino, it gets an automatic
Oh,
5.
Brody, we
It's
can't hear you.
just what? How can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? You still can't hear me?
He's gone.
No, well, as we wait for Brody to come back, um, and why I know you said you were bored about this movie. I also like felt that way at points, but
Hmm.
similar to how I felt about Black Panther, and this is for a completely different reason, just because of the visuals and the story that they were telling. Because I was trying to pick up more knowledge on the MCU, because I feel like this is a great movie if you want to refresh your brain on the magic portion of the MCU. Like, I had a very hard time taking notes on this movie just because I was engaged. Maybe,
Hmm.
I story wise, I wasn't fully engaged, but visually, I had a tough time taking my eyes off the screen.
I just find the whole like I don't know the villain. I can't remember his name is very kind of just shoot in there from the start, and he's just bad to
Calcil-
be bad.
Calcilius?
Yes, yes. From the second the ancient one shows up, there's something shady about her. So I kind of think the whole build up to then she's using dark magic is kind of just already kind of so telegraphed before it gets there that it's not too exciting.
Uh-huh.
I think the fight at the end is like Brody said, there's no real emotional connection between Doctor Strange or Dormammu at all.
Yeah. And that's kind of an issue that we hit in some other movies where, you know, the big bad of the movie we don't get revealed to in the last 10 minutes of the movie. But that I wrote this down in my notes. It's probably the most creative final battles that we will see in a standalone Marvel movie, and it's personally my favorite. Even though there's no real relationship between Dormammu and Doctor Strange, I remember sitting in the theater thinking, "Wow, this was creative." I wouldn't have thought about it. And
I
I
do like
clearly
the
he's got the time stone on him, so it was
Mhm.
right in front of us. But I just really like that end credit, or not end credit scene, final battle.
the time loop where he just kind of annoys him into giving up is pretty is an interesting idea.
Hmm. Um, what else? What else? What else?
And it's
Yeah.
a good way to to get around that that not workaround, around that issue you see in a lot of movies where it's you introduce because Dormammu is a very powerful Doctor Strange villain. He's like up there with Nightmare in terms of like the villainness for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So it gets around that issue you see in a lot of movies where you bring in these all powerful, super iconic villains for them, like for example Ultron in Age of Ultron, and then they're defeated in one movie. Not so much Ultron, but if you were to have Doctor Strange, who's been a magician for a couple of months, sorry, a sorcerer, go against Dormammu, this like all-powerful being of dark magic, and instantly defeat them in their first fight, it just doesn't really work. You're going to have a lot of issues in terms of fans with the way the writing works. So having it be, rather than actually fighting, he just gets killed repeatedly until they come to an agreement, kind of fixes that little issue that a lot of movies have.
Yeah, Brody, I don't know if you know this, but you're sideways on us.
Am I sideways? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Dude. Everything, man.
The technical difficulties have been coming for you the last couple days.
Dude, they're after me. It's Ultron, man. Ultron hacked into my system.
Well, Brody, what other thoughts you got on this movie?
I was just going to say, for music, if it's Michael Giacchino, automatic 5. That's just the way movies are. I don't know how it works. I like, it's just the way it is. I appreciate someone who can write themes. You know what I mean? It's just nice.
Seems like Wyatt's adamantly disagreeing with you.
There's not a single, to me, sound or score in this movie that caught my attention whatsoever.
The main theme didn't at all. Like, what theme does that sound like?
A lot of these other... I can't even think of the theme, Brody. It's got
the cool sound that Ethan was talking about, which we like later on when we hear it.
This instrument. I'm gonna look up what the instrument is.
Look up what it is, please. But like, just as a composer, being like, oh, the guy that just did Spider-Man that we watched and the guy that did this movie are the same guy is insane to me. And then that's the same guy who did Up is insane. Very true. Like, I appreciate that he always does something new, and he does write themes for characters, even if they're not hummable sometimes, like this one. I think it might be just for variety's reasons. You know what I mean? Like, he just did a Spider-Man theme that's really hummable. You probably want to do something different for Strange.
It's 2 different instruments. It's a harpsichord paired with an electric sitar.
That's what I was going to say, actually.
I heard the electric sitar, but I didn't get the first one. So that's actually, I'm glad you looked it up.
I didn't even know sitar came in the electric version. But I think the instruments are supposed to reflect, the location of
Kamar-Taj.
Yes, Kamar-Taj. I almost this is gonna make you upset, Wyatt. I'm gonna say Kung Lao.
Yeah, don't talk about Kung Lao like that. Don't be doing that. That's where Shang Lao, the dragon with the immortal heart, lives.
And then what's the other one? Ta Lo? Is Ta Lo the other one? We haven't learned about Ta Lo yet.
These sound like Star Wars character names.
The one from Salacious V. Crumb.
Oh yeah, that's my little Kowakia monkey lizard guy.
What other thoughts do you guys have before we wrap it up today?
Dude, drive slower, please. For the love of God. He was going nowhere.
Yes.
He's going nowhere. What a genius doctor. It's wild.
Right?
The guy's all about precision and stuff, and then he's like,
I remember the time a lot of people think that there's a reference to Rhodey on the calls he's getting.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I have seen that. I do like that.
But I've also, because one of them says like a former fighter pilot or something hurt in experimental armor. Also, what's more accurate though, I think a lot of people also think that's a reference to one of the videos we get shown in Iron Man 2 at the very start during the trial scene.
I can see that.
There's a scene where like the American one gets like snapped in half.
Yeah, but I feel like too much time has passed for the Iron Man one, The Rhodey one makes more sense in terms of the timeline.
Ooh. Going back, do you think this movie justifies the Strange reference we got before? I think it does, because we start with him already being like world famous. It says that he's famous though. Like in the description
Yeah,
for Disney Plus, it says famous.
how is a surgeon a threat to society?
True.
Potentially,
how is
if
a
he were
surgeon
to
a
use
threat to
it for
society?
the wrong thing, he could do
How's
insane
he gonna
things.
use it for the wrong thing?
He could
No, I don't
be an
think so.
evil
I
surgeon.
don't think it retroactively fixes it.
Well, when you think about him and
Professor Pig.
like brain science and stuff, like if they needed his help for something like Winter Soldier or something like that, where you would need a surgeon, he could be of use. You know what I mean? So I think the listing.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to conclude this episode. Next week, why I know you are juiced for this one. The Punisher Season 1.
So excited.
Brody, how you feeling about watching some Punisher?
I'm excited for it.
Punisher.
Because this one I haven't heard anything about.
it.
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's the
I've
title of
already
the
lost
episode
it,
right there.
Can't hear a damn word you're saying.
What?
It's such a good show. Just get ready,
Brody,
man.
we cannot hear you.
Get your seatbelts, buckle in. Think of a Netflix show on par with Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, Brody, we can't hear you anymore. Oh, what is he saying? What did he say? I can't read it.
I don't know.
He's saying excited. He's very excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Am I back?
Now he's back.
Can you hear me?
All right. Well, I think
And
this is
now
a
it's
perfect
frozen.
time for us to wrap it up. That is going to do it for this episode of the Sacred Rewatch. We hope you enjoyed diving back into the timeline with us. New recap episodes are coming out every week leading up to Avengers Doomsday. Wherever you are in the multiverse, thanks for making the Sacred Rewatch part of your journey for all time, always. See you guys.